I'm really excited about this lesson. It addresses one of the biggest issues that I'm seeing with drumming students these days, and that is the issue of half learning. Let's understand this huge issue first. This is half learning, having the concept in your mind, but you can't apply that concept. And I see this over and over and over and over with my students. It's almost the thing that we focus on all the time. It's like, well, you haven't fully learned that. You need to spend longer on it. So in this lesson, we are going to take a deep dive on this topic, and I'm going to break this out and show you a ton of different ways that you can interpret one drumming phrase. I would call this a melody. And the melody is going to be very simple, okay? It's going to go 1 and 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 and that's it. 1 and 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 and here's it. 3, 4. That's the phrase, and you're like, Stephen, there's not much to that. Not yet, okay? Remember, we're trying to focus on diving deep. Forget the half learning. Let's dive deep on a topic and let's explore it and see what we can do when we really apply it to our drumming. So if we take that concept, 3, 4, 1. All right, I can play with my right hand. Now let me play it with my left hand. 1. I know both hands can play this. Play it on your kick drum. We're getting what I call the skeleton of that rhythm together. Because before we can do something like this, or this, before we can do any of those types of things, we have to understand the skeleton of the rhythm. So after I had that skeleton, I would then go, okay, what could I do? Maybe I could fill in with 16th notes and make all of the inner beats soft 16th notes and all of the melody, as we'll call that, an accented note. We could make that a drum fill on its own. And now, I just got ahead of myself. So we do, okay, yeah, that's a simple thing, because on the surface it's like, oh, that's a simple thing. The same thing with Lego bricks. Lego bricks are simple, right? But you can build worlds with them, okay? So let's take this Lego brick and let's build something with it. And I just alluded to my next one. I could put it on the toms, put all the accents on the toms. So I have a very simple drum fill there. Let's keep diving into this. Okay, so I put it on my toms. Well, the next thing I could do is put my kick drum with it, okay? And that's not a big move, but it's the next logical move. So my kick drum's gonna play with my hands on all the accented notes, and that'll sound like this. Make sure you're hitting unisons and not flams. We could do that on the toms. Now you're like, Stephen, that doesn't sound a ton different. Not by itself, but what it does is it leads us to the next thing we can do. We could put it on the cymbals. And right there, you heard me mix all three of them. Some on the hi-hat, some on the tom, some on the snares, and some on the cymbals. We've taken a very simple melody, 3, 4. And now we're diving into it, and we're trying to explore it. All right, so let's go to the next, logical thing that maybe my mind would go to. Instead of playing 16th notes, let's play rolls in between the accented notes. 3, 4. All of a sudden, this very simple melody gets way more interesting. It's like, oh wow, okay, so I never thought I could put rolls there. What if we did the reverse of that? What if we put diddles on the main notes? That's different. Like, when would I use that? I don't know when you'd use it, but it's a different way to interpret it. So now that sounds like this. Okay. Maybe I could put the inner beats on the toms. That sounds kind of cool. 3, 3, 4, 3, 4. Okay, now we've got kind of a different way to interpret that. What if we put all of the notes on the kick drum and filled that in? And you're like, Steven, you're going pretty quick with this. Yeah, I'm taking this is gonna take weeks and weeks to work on and work out, but I'm giving you the bird's eye view of just stay with me. Look how far this idea can go if we don't settle for half learning. Look how far we can take it if we'll apply it to our playing and be creative in what we're doing. What if we just used the kick drum and filled in inner beats with the snare drum? 3, 4. Now, what if we flipped that and we said, ooh, what if I played the melody with my hand and on the bass drum filled in all the inner beats? That's a great bass drum workout. Would you use that? I don't know. I could use that as a drum fill. Obviously smooth that out a little bit, because some of these I'm just going through and giving you the idea. You spend the time, smooth them out, make sure that they sound really, really good. What's another simple thing we can do? We could take and play that melody as a flam. Flams are one of the 3 or 4 top rudiments that I suggest drummers learn. And a flam is just a grace note followed by the primary note. So you have this note, and we put a little note in the front of it. I almost think of it like a fishing line. This is your fishing pole, and this is your bait down here. And you can put that flam. Primary note is the one you're going for, and the grace note is just attached to that. So 3, 4, 1. 1. That doesn't sound great by itself, but what happens when we put those flams on the toms? 1. That's the primary note on the toms. What if we put the grace note on the toms? 3, 4. I like that. I've always liked that sound. All right. So now we have the exercise there. Next logical thing's like, what could I do? What could I do? Oh yeah, we could put 16th notes in the middle of that and put those on the toms. We could take and we could now put the grace note on the toms instead of the primary note. And it's like, oh, well, let me work out that sticking. Do you see, we haven't been going that long in this lesson. And I have thrown, I know, 20 ways at you where it's like, do this, do this, do this. Let's put 16th notes there and put the grace note there. I could put them all on the right hand and change the sticking. 2, 3, 4. We come up with these, I call them happy little accidents. Like they sound, it's like, oh, that sounds neat. How could I incorporate that into my playing? So now we've gone from this to and more in a very short time. And what we do is we keep following this trail down. What else could I do? Well, what if we played the flam in between our kick drum and our snare? You see how deep we're going on this? There's no half learning here. Integrated again into our playing, and we're spending a lot of time with one piece of source material. One measure has given us the fodder for this whole lesson. So we could flam in between the kick drum and the snare, or in the snare. 3, 4. Maybe you would, but that's kind of a loose feel. Did you see what I did that? I played it without the 16th notes. I added the 16th notes, added the roll. You see how simple that system was? And I'd already designed that system from a couple of methods ago. So once we get the system down, we start putting the little pieces in there, and something that seems so simple, we can now use in a solo type of a situation. This podcast is brought to you by the Drum Better Daily program. That's actually my online drum school that I've run now for 12 plus years. Not only have I been playing the drums professionally since the age of 15, I've been teaching since the age of 18. Matter of fact, I talked to one of my, my first student a few days ago. I actually called him to see if he could sub a gig out for me. Daniel, love you, man. And he's still playing. He's still doing it on a pro level. And I have been committed to teaching for 22 plus years now. I would love to have you go check it out at stevensdrumshed.com. You can find a link to that in the show notes or video description, whichever platform you're watching it on. But it truly is a community of like-minded drummers where we are striving to just be the best that we can be at the drums. In addition to over 70 pre-recorded drum courses, there's also a tech talk area where we talk about everything technology related as it pertains to the drums, e-kits, recording, doing videos, all of that stuff. There are forums where you can hang out with the other students as well. We do 2 live video student calls every week that you can join if you'd like to. We do guest artist calls monthly, and I'll even make you a personalized lesson plan if that's what you need. Yes, we talk about the nuts and bolts of drumming. Yes, I give you exercises, but we also talk a lot about how to practice more efficiently, how to practice better, and how to get more out of your practice time. I know you're just like me. You're busy, you're being pulled by work, by family, by friends, by other responsibilities. Whenever you practice, you really want to see gains and have it be productive. That is what we focus on in the Drum Better Daily program. I'll have to say personally, it's been really cool because some of these students I've worked with for over 12 years, we started running drum camps here in 2022, and I got to meet some of them in person for the first time. Those drum camps have been selling out, blowing my mind with how much fun they are and how great a time it is to bring the community together in person. I'd love to have you be a part of it. Now, I'm randomly going through all those ideas, right? So we put it together a little bit more. But you can see where this is going and how much we can utilize this. Maybe you could say, okay, well, what else could we do with this? Well, we haven't messed with single strokes, okay, as far as like 30-second notes. So maybe every note is a 2 30-second notes. Every note in that melody is 2 30-second notes. Everything else plays 16th notes. 3, 4. And some of you are like, hey, that's a herta. A herta is... Right, this makes hertas. 2, 3, 4. The real magic of hertas comes when we start applying them to the toms. 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. What if we left one hand on the snare? You see me stopping to think about it there for a second. What else could we do with this? I could still use those as single strokes, but put double stroke rolls in between them, okay? So let's get that going. It'd sound like this. That one sounds pretty cool. I could mix it with the rolls. You can see the more I get into this, the more my brain's like, oh, I could do this, I could do this, I could do that, I could do that. That's what I want to spark in you, is that understanding that when we stay with a topic long enough, we start to ingest that topic and that topic starts to show up in our playing. We can even take this and we could play drags in between our kick drum and our snare drum maybe. So instead of flam, it sounds like this, 3, 4. Play 16ths underneath it. Some of you are already like he's about to play a roll. Let me get that one down. That one's hard. 3, 4. And you might be like, Steven, that's not the sound I always want. Well, it doesn't have to be the sound you always want, but that could be a really cool sound. Let's take it, you're like, okay, I get it, Steven. Is that all we can do is just kind of like shred on the drum kit? No. And a lot of you can see this gives you a vocabulary. So let's go away from that melody now and let's just expand that a little bit. And let's go through some of these concepts that I've been talking about and let me show you how far I can use them on the drum kit to play other and varying patterns. What I'm doing is I'm going through the different methods that I've showed you right here and some that I haven't shown you, and I'm using them to generate ideas. And you can see now that I've laid that framework that seemed very methodical and like, okay, this one doesn't sound interesting. This one, it's a system, and a great system builds upon itself. All of the smaller parts are just as important as the larger part. If you have an engine and you have one bolt that gets taken out, a lot of times that engine won't work. You have one washer that gets taken out, a rubber washer, and it's leaking, it doesn't work. It's the same way with systems, and that's why I've developed kind of this system that I've worked myself through, and that has yielded great results for me. Now let's go to what we could do with drum beats. Let's go back to that melody we were using earlier. Let's say I just have 8 notes here on the hi-hat. I'm gonna play 2 and 4 on my snare, 8 notes here, and the kick drum plays that melody. Remember the melody, 3, 4. Okay, so now we take that, 3, 4. What if we did a simple thing like change where the rhythm was? Let's play 4 on the floor, 2 and 4 on the snare, and let's put the rhythm in our right hand. We could even change the bass drum rhythm, and that should be challenging. Let's see if I could do that. So let's change it to something like this. Now, first thing we do is work out what's happening over here. That sounds pretty cool. notes here, the rhythm here. 3, 4. Heard me there? I messed it up, and that's the magic about going through these things. I'm still working through a lot of this material because it's fun. You see me smiling. It's fun while we're doing it. 3, 4. And so we put it on the bass drum for a groove. We put it on the hi-hat. What happens if we put it back on the bass drum when we filled in all of the 16th notes with ghost notes? 3, 4. All of a sudden, now we have a groove. What happens if we do something really strange? Let's do something really strange and change things up. Every time I play a bass drum, which is playing the rhythm, I still play the 16th notes, but I take away 2 and 4, and I add an accent after every bass drum note. So the 16th note after the bass drum note is accented, all the other 16th notes are unaccented. You're like, Steven, hold up. We kind of start getting layers deep. We start going layer upon layer. This is what that sounds like. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's how we defeat this gremlin that plagues so many of our practice times, this half-learning thing, is we stay with it. And the material that I've presented in this took me months and years to really master the concepts, to see them show up in my playing. With each new one, I'd be like, okay, hold on, I gotta work out flams, putting the grace note there, putting the grace note here. What happens when I put, and there's tons of methods I haven't even shown you. Be sure to watch back through this lesson, take some stuff from it, go try it in your practice time,